Welcome to the MVP podcast, where we talk about anything NBA. I'm Sam Holcroft, alongside Geigh Zollicoffer and Payton Thompson. Before we begin, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Momentum MVP, follow our Facebook page at MVP Momentum Podcast, and check us out on YouTube at MVP Momentum Podcast. So today we're going to talk about the All-Star Game. Fan voting just wrapped up, and in, I think, less than 48 hours, we're going to find out who the starters and the reserves are. So we're just going to talk about who we think the starters and reserves are going to be. Starters might be a little more obvious, reserves might not. So we'll have some good kind of debates, conversations. But before we go into that, we'll just kind of talk about how the voting works. So the fan vote makes up 50% of the starters, while the players get 25%, and then a group of media gets the other 25% to make that 100. And then after the starters are selected, the reserves are decided by all of the head coaches, where they can't vote for their own players. The fan voting got updated. So I'll show that now. So the top two vote getters, we got LeBron James with almost 4 million, and Giannis actually cracking 4 million with the 4.3 million. So we also have a bunch of other kind of guys. I mean, Joel's up there, Jokic as expected. But where do we want to start? And we'll talk about who we think the starters are going to be.
Well, before we start, I just want to clarify a little bit of something you said about the announcement of the players. So the starters are going to be announced this Thursday, the 25th, and then the reserves are going to be next week.
Gotcha.
So that, I think it'll be very interesting to know who the starters are going to be, just so we have some concrete information. But it's going to be even more interesting to know who gets snubbed and who gets in. When you get a little bit further down. But it's really going to be, it's all based on the head coaches, really. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I'll let when you guys kick it off, we can talk about a couple of the starters on each conference and go from there.
Well, I think we could probably just start off with who the captains are going to be. It's probably going to be Giannis and LeBron, as it's been for the last few years now. Obviously, they're going to be starters. But who's one that you want to talk about, Gage? That we could for sure write in. I mean, there's a couple, obviously.
For starters?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jimmy.
Okay.
You think he's a for sure starter?
No.
Okay, so that's where you want to start this. You want to go from you really don't care about who is going to get in for sure. You want to talk about the starters that might not get in.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time where I believe Jokic was the last pick in that, like, when they were doing that drafting. I think Jokic was like the last pick
of the starters last year.
Yeah. No, he was a starter, right? Or was he backup?
No, he was starter.
He was starter? You sure?
He was back-to-back MVP. Why would he be why would he be a reserve?
Because these guys are ridiculous. I'm pretty sure, like, maybe it was 3 years ago.
See, I'll look it up.
See, I think the last 2 years he was a starter for sure. I couldn't tell you about 3 years ago.
Yeah, he was a starter. He averaged 26, 9, and 11. 12. Sorry. 26, 9, and 12. That's not a reserve.
I thought he was it was 2019. He was a reserve.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
And then, how about the year after that?
Or before?
Yeah, no, that was his first year. 2019 was his first All-Star year.
No,
and in 2020,
that's not right.
That's what it says, yeah?
That was his first All-Star appearance, is 2019. That can't be right.
Yeah, 2018, 2019.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, well, 2019, I guess. 2019 All-Star game. That was his first time. I mean, he was slept on like crazy.
I mean, he was drafted in what, like,
17? That was his third year? 2018, 2019. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So that was his fourth year. Okay. I thought it was his third year he got in.
And then he made reserve again, I think. Was it reserve?
makes me feel even better about Şengün.
Yeah.
That Jokic made it in 4 years, and Şengün's a possibility in his third. I mean, he was probably a possibility his third as well. But anyways, I mean, okay, so let's just start from the top. I think if we do process of elimination, that would probably be the best way to go about this, because if we go from the middle up, it's going to be a little bit
Gonna be a
harder to get the
wonky
teams.
decisions. Yeah.
So LeBron, he's going to get in as a starter.
You
For sure.
We already know that. I mean, he's got the fan vote, obviously.
Maybe it's me.
Yeah. No, he's in.
Yeah, he's in for sure.
You can write in Jokic.
Yeah, you can write in Jokic. I mean, I guess. Yeah, let's just go west first. Let's go west to east. So, LeBron and Jokic are in. Luka's in for sure, probably, right? It'd be hard not to have him as a starter. Now, I think where it gets a little bit weird as far as the fan voting goes is Steph has a little over 300,000 more votes than Shai. Now, realistically, though, if it's a coach, or I guess coaches aren't voting for starters, but if it's media and it's the players, I have a really hard time believing that they're not going to pick Shai over Curry.
That's what I was thinking too.
I think Shai is an MVP candidate this year, and so not only that, but having the team success, being top 3 in the West, and putting up the kind of numbers he's putting up right now, I think it's really hard to say that he's not going to be a starter. I feel like he has to be a starter.
That's tough. Do you really have Steph come off the bench? That's kind of crazy. It's not his fault.
Yeah, it's crazy in a sense that we owe it, the past 4, 5, 6, 7 years we've thought as Curry as kind of the best point guard in the league. But I'm sorry to say, but he's just not that guy anymore. Quoting Embiid, he's just not that guy anymore. And not to say that he, like he's washed or he like fell off or anything, but I don't know if he's the best point guard in the NBA anymore. And he for sure, in my opinion, isn't as good as Shai has been this year. And that's just kind of what it is. And team success has a lot to do with it. If the Warriors were a 4 or 5 seed or even a 6 seed, maybe it'd be a lot different. But they're not even in the play-in right now, so it's hard to put that guy over a guy that's brought his young team to the 2 or the 3 seed.
Yeah, I'm just looking back. Let's see. Trying to remember. Yeah, so Shai got elevated to a starter because Steph couldn't play last year. And the difference in voting was compared to last year was 3.7 million. So I feel like, considering that it's only 300,000 here, I don't think that that's going to hold as much weight to hold him back, especially because, like you said, PT, like Shai's an MVP candidate this year. So I think, and plus they're the second seed in the West right now. And like you got to reward that, and I think players are gonna see that, and if it was a team effort, which I mean for OKC it is, but like Shai's having that MVP caliber season, it's just you gotta put him in as a starter.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Geigh?
Someone's gonna get snubbed, and we haven't even thought about like. I don't think we even thought about Doncic.
If
we put him in,
we put him in. So Doncic over. Yeah. So it's gonna be between Shai or Curry.
Yes. Yeah. Because you can have 2 guards and 3 forwards, forward/center. So it's and yeah, Luka's a lock. So it's gonna.
Actually, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it should be Luka, Shai, Jokic, LeBron, and then probably Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I think
The
that's
main talks actually, people are talking about like having like Curry, and it being between Curry and Doncic rather than Curry and Shai. They think, like I'm reading right now, like they actually think there's actually discussion that it's between Doncic and Curry, and Shai already gets the nod regardless of what happens. Is that you would put Doncic or Curry at point guard, and Luca with Doncic or Curry at point guard. Shai will get shooting guard regardless of what happens.
Hmm. The the hard part about that is that Luka's averaging some of the best numbers in the NBA right now.
yeah.
And when it comes down to it, man, when it comes down to these kind of really close calls, I mean, one, it comes down to voting. Luka hasn't beat. And then two, it comes down to team record, and that's just is what it is. Yeah, let's pull up the Western Conference here and check.
Oh, I'm pull up ESPN. I like the format better.
But I think
I think Curry is one of the only guys on that Golden State Warriors team who isn't the reason why they're like. I really think it's not him. I mean, the Lakers,
I don't think
LeBron is number one and like number two in voting. LeBron, and look at the Lakers, 9.
No, I completely agree with you. I'm not saying the Warriors have that record because of Curry, but at the same time, it's gonna go into the process, of choosing between one guy or the other. Um, and obviously it's not that far away. I mean, there's a long season. They got 6 games to make up. It's not like the Warriors theoretically couldn't catch up to the Mavericks, if there was a crazy change. But when you're talking about he has the numbers advantage, he has the MVP, or not the MVP, the fan voting advantage, and he's got the team record advantage. I just don't see how you can put Curry over Shai or Luka on that stance. Makes it really hard. I feel like if Curry maybe had better numbers than one of those two guys, then you could see it. Or maybe if Curry was like the 4th seed and the Mavericks were the 8th seed, then maybe I could see it. He would need at minimum at least one of the 3 things, and he has 0. Because if you had fan voting, that would also go a long way because it's 50%.
Yeah.
Preferably 2 out of the 3 though.
And also, and I mean, here's the thing: is like both Luka and Shai average more points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks than Curry, and they both have better records. Now, obviously, like
they have better teams.
I mean, yes, but also like I don't know. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this Mavericks team. But
I don't know what the Andrew Wiggins is doing. Klay Thompson is acting like he's washed. Draymond's suspended for who knows when he's coming back. I don't know. I don't know who their center is right now. Kuminga. That team is going to blow up here soon.
I think it's Looney. Yeah, I mean, again, I totally understand your point of view. I agree with you that the team is probably one of the worst constructed teams right now. Obviously, Chris Paul also out with surgery, but at this point, it's just kind of like you made your bed, now you got to sleep in it, as far as the Warriors and the damage they've done to their team. They tried to get really cute with the Wiseman trade and the D'Lo trade and then the Chris Paul trade, and now they have to lay in it, and it's costing Curry an all-star starter spot. At the end of the day, he's going to be an all-star, so it's not like, and he's going to probably play 25 to 28 minutes. It's not like he's going to miss the team because his team is bad, I mean, he could have the 12 seed in the West right now behind the Rockets and still make it as the 6th guy. So I don't know if it really matters all that much to kind of the grand scheme of things. It's still going to go on his reference page. It's still going to go on his resume. So it just is what it is.
Yeah, and like in the end of the day, does All-Star Game starter and reserves matter except for the month leading up to the All-Star game.
Yeah, like probably not.
Here's the thing. 2 years ago, like, who was the All-Star starters? Like, we could guess, but like, so there could be someone totally random. Like, Lauri Markkanen was an All-Star starter last year, and people kind of vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Only because it was in Utah, and he got promoted to it.
Well, and we didn't really mention this either. And we don't have to spend too much time on this either, but the way it used to be these past, I think, was it 2 or 3 years, the captains would vote. And now it's just based on the conference. There's not going to be any more vote or any more picks anymore, which I kind of don't like. I mean, I think it added kind of a cool element of picking your team, and it made it kind of funny to watch, happening on TV and whatever. But I think what really mainly matters is if you're a captain or not, and then if you're not a captain, then you're either an all-star or you're not. Once the teams are picked.
All right, so what are we thinking, Gage?
I guess you can put Shy over the dude, but like, it's a snub regardless of what you do. It's just a snub.
Like I said, it's only a snub for the month leading up to it. No one's gonna remember it as a snub.
If you think that's a snub, just wait till we get down to 8, 9, and 10, because there's some guys that that are gonna miss. Sabonis is one of those guys.
Austin Reeves.
I think as we get further down, we're gonna have to look at some more straight up stats, because some of these guys will not make it, obviously.
And then just rounding out the West starters, we're putting Kevin Durant in there.
Yes, but I wouldn't be surprised if Anthony Davis had the players voting. Well, maybe I would be surprised. Either way, Kevin Durant has so many more votes that it's probably not going to matter what the 25 or 25% matters, means.
Right.
So, yeah, it's going to be Kevin Durant at the 3.
But then the 4 is AD, and then the 5 is Jokic?
No, LeBron is the 4.
LeBron is the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. What am I thinking? Yeah, LeBron's the 4.
I mean, in the end,
I think LeBron goes to 3.
It doesn't matter the position. 3,
positions
4,
don't matter.
It's just a front court or a forward.
Here's the thing: if Embiid, Jokic, and Kat were all in the same conference and were the top 3 vote getters, they're going to be starters. Positioning doesn't really matter.
But for we're talking about the All-Star game, the Western Conference.
I know, but I'm saying if positioning doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And
like eventually it's gonna be like Victor, Jokic, and I guess you would need like if you had an extra 4 or 5 in there.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, there's gonna be some year in the future where you're gonna have 2 centers and 1 big small forward.
Yeah. So now going back to the East, so we already have Giannis locked in. Probably another one is probably Embiid.
Yep, he's a lock. Especially after dropping 70 last night.
Yep.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I don't know when the players and media voting ended, but here's the thing: if it ended like today, then they know that Embiid's for sure in now.
It's those top 3 guys.
Tatum,
yeah, that's it. No, don't even think too hard about it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yep. And then the guards, I think we can write in Tyrese.
Yeah, he's a lock.
Stop.
He's a lock. He's a lock for sure.
I don't know if he's a lock.
And it's in Indy.
He slowed down a little bit, so I guess
sure. Maybe because he was injured.
But but that still counts against you.
It is tough because I don't know if you guys saw the update. Obviously, he was out for a game or 2 or 3, maybe at most. Came back again to play with Pascal his first game, and now he's resting for 3 more games, and then he's gonna go into further evaluation after that. So I really hope they didn't bring him back too early and re-aggravate the injury. But either way, the All-Star game is far enough away where he can come in and play 10 minutes and be a starter. He's going to get the starting nod. But the numbers are, undeniable. So, yeah. I like Tyrese a lot as a player, so I'm a little biased, but fan voting is there, and he's played like it this year.
Yeah, and now the second guard position, it gets kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, the debate I think is Trey and Dame. I don't know if you can necessarily put Donovan up there. He has missed more games, which probably just holds him back. But who do you guys give the nod to here? Trey, who I think is first or second in the league in assists, or Dame, who's the point guard on the second best team in the East?
I give it to Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown has played really well, but unfortunately, I feel like I would just pick another front court because.
Okay, but that's not how it works, though.
Yeah, but I'd have to pick another. I would pick another.
I mean, if you could.
If I could, because Trae Young and Dame have.
You're trying to do that stars and superstars thing again, where you pick too many.
They just haven't had good years. They haven't had really good years.
I mean, Trae Young and Dame have had good years too.
But compared to who I can choose from, hypothetically, I would fit Jalen as a guard.
I think Trae Young's had a good enough year statistically. And here's the thing. I was going to say Damian Lillard because I think when you look at their record in the East right now and then you look at his stats, I think they're pretty solidifiable. And he's up there with the fan voting as well, so he kind of just makes sense. I mean, we kind of have to draw a line here. What are we exactly doing here? Because are we going based off of who we think should make it or who we think is going to make it?
Who we think should make it.
Okay. I guess it's kind of the same, but I think if I'm seeing this is the lens I'm looking at it through. I think it should be Trey or Dame, but if I have a predictor scale, I think it's going to be Damian Lillard. So that's another reason why he gets my nod. And the voting is so close. I mean, they're practically at the same. It's going to be based on the players and the media. And I think generally, I do think players and media respect Damian Lillard a little bit more. I think Trae Young had a really slow start to the season on his shooting splits, so that kind of hurts. And then he picked it up. And also his team's not good right now. I think they're probably right in the play-in. I think at the 10 seed. You can double check that for me if you want. I think they're the 9 or 10 seed. They might be 8, but I wouldn't count
10.
on it. Okay, yeah, 10. So, you have the 2 seed and the 10 seed. You gotta if I go from the same criteria of Shy and Curry or Luka and Curry, I have to do it with Dame and Trey. So it's gonna be Dame, I think, and it should be. What do you guys think? Do you agree?
And anything to add?
In terms of fit, I think I'd pick Donovan Mitchell, but
See, I would rather actually pick Donovan than Trae Young, to be honest with you. So I kind of agree with you. I don't think I'd pick Don over Lillard, but I could see Don being the odd man out for sure.
Yeah, he just hasn't played enough games. I feel like, I mean, it shouldn't matter, but it does matter because Damian's played 40, Trae Young's played 39, and Donovan's played 32.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like that's the biggest reason why there's 3.5 or 350,000 vote difference between those two guys and Donovan. Was missing those 6 or 7 extra games.
Yeah. I guess I could see that. Yeah, I guess we're going for just popularity because I feel like Donovan Mitchell would easily be a better fit against Tyrese. If I'm building a team here, and I want my best 1-2, like I'm getting Tyrese and I'm pairing him up with Donovan. That's just how it's going to be. I'm
Yeah,
not going to.
if you're building a team to win, they're not going to be trying to win, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you said, it's more so a popularity contest, but at the end of the day, all these guys are stars. So it's an all-star game. It's going to be fun. It's going to work. But one more thing to add about Don here. I think comparative to Damian, and you could say the same thing about Trey and Don, I feel like their teams have been really stagnant. They haven't really improved much throughout the year. They haven't really improved much since last year. Um, they have a very, how do I say it? A very type A way to play it. So like they'll play their game, but if that doesn't work, then the team is kind of doomed. Um, if Trey's not shooting well, if Trey's not able to get off his lob passes, or if Donovan's not able to score 30, and have guys in good position, or have that back court or that front court in the back defense, uh, the team is significantly worse. Whereas I think if you lose Dame, obviously the Bucks are still really good, but I think it's I don't know. It's hard to say because you had Drew Holiday last year. You get that extra offense, but kind of what I'm saying is the teams just really haven't gotten much better. Whereas at least Dame's team maybe hasn't got record-wise better, but they are number one in the East or number two, and they've kind of kept up that steam.
Yeah. I guess if so, who we think should make it. When is All Star? When is All Star in? Oh, February 18th.
Yeah.
So you got
Yep.
some time. I was
Yeah.
thinking about like what trades are going to be made to maybe help these teams out. Like, I feel like if DeJounte gets traded, Trey is going to be the guy. Like, I feel like Trey's going to deserve it just because.
But unfortunately, none of that matters because
Yeah.
the All-Star starters get picked in 48 hours.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So then, I have no idea.
I mean, Damian Lillard's not a bad answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, and plus, I mean, the guy who's the captain, is Giannis, his teammate. So I think it just kind of just makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I think. I think I would give it. Dude, I don't like either of those choices. Like, let's give whoever got snubbed on the West that spot.
Well, unfortunately, we don't have
Too
that
bad we
format
can't.
anymore.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Sucks.
So okay, so we're going with Dame. You're undecided, and me and Sam are decided on that one.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
just
then-
Dame. Yeah, sure, whatever.
Okay, so
He's
then,
not happy about it.
all right, and so while we're here, there's 3 backcourt spots available for reserves and 4 frontcourt spots. So we can go through the 3 backcourt reserves. So we were discussing Trey, and I think we can all agree Donovan Mitchell should be there as well.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. So how it was something funky, and I don't remember exactly. You might have to look this up. But it's like you get 3 backcourt guys, 3 frontcourt guys, and then you get 1 wild card of either.
Oh yeah, I think that might be right.
I think so, because then you
Yeah.
have. Is that what it is, or is it 2 and 2? 'Cause I
Let's
don't know how
see.
big the roster can be. 'Cause you
I
already
think
have 5.
the 12. It's 12. Game.
So is it 2 backcourt, 3, and a wild card? Because I know one of those you can have either.
Okay, so let's see reserves. So the 30 NBA coaches select 14 reserves, so 7 from each side. Going
Okay.
for 2 guards, 3 front courts, and then 2 players at any position. So like
Okay.
so it's 2, 3, and then 2 wild cards.
Yep. Okay, cool. All right. So, as you were saying about Trae Young.
So I think we could write in Trae Young since we were debating him being a starter, and then I think we could also put Donovan Mitchell in there.
And then easily
Yeah.
Tyrese.
Tyrese is a starter. Or
He's Maxey.
Tyrese Maxey?
Max-
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, chill out, bro.
Well, sorry. It's just I just felt like you weren't hearing me earlier, so I needed to. I thought it
feel
was
like
another one of
we've
those.
had this. I feel like we've had this mistake a couple times where we say Tyrese, but we think it's a different Tyrese.
I hope at one point we'll have both Tyrese's starting in the backcourt.
Right.
just team Tyrese. But so we got both the backcourt positions filled, and then we got that wild card filled.
One of the wild cards. Yep.
All right. So now we can go to the front court here.
Yep. We'll find the 3 front court guys here, and then we can decide the last wild card, whether it's a backcourt or front court.
I'm actually going to pull up a separate tab here.
I don't think Jimmy really deserves it. Jimmy has been kind of subpar.
That's what I was thinking too, Geigh. Yeah. I don't like that he's that high in fan voting. I don't know what people are watching, but realistically, he should actually be like 6th or 7th.
Yeah, it's because he has that dog in him. That's why.
I mean, people like the Heat, I guess, but it's just like, I with games that he's missed, his team's been fine. I mean, they've been pretty good, but I don't think it's as dominant as a team lead as he's been in the past 3 years or anything like that.
Sam, he's around like 18.
Did I pass him?
No, like he's around 18 points per game. That's what you're looking
okay.
for.
Yeah.
Oh, I have Kobe White, Jalen Williams, RJ Barrett, Porzingis, Scotty Barnes, Victor, Cam Thomas. All these guys are scoring more than him.
I mean, Jimmy has never been known as a scorer. He's been kind of a jack of all trades, but
True.
still,
18 points isn't gonna get it done for the All-Star game. I mean, see, he's at.
I'm not even seeing him.
He's below 50. Or no, he's not. He's 42nd. He's 21.1 points. And so I mean, if Jeremy Grant and Kyle Kuzma are scoring more than you, it's probably not a great scoring year for you.
Where is he?
Oh, he's probably are he only guards? No, I thought he was 18.
I'm
18 points.
I'm looking at ESPN. You're looking at NBA.com.
Yeah, NBA is whack.
He's at 21.1 though points.
How many games has he played?
Yeah, that could be a thing.
Because it's not a qualifier.
Yeah, it could be that too.
Because I don't see anyone under 30 games. And I think he's probably played under that.
28. Yep.
Yeah, so I think here's the thing. We could put a hold on Jimmy, maybe that last wild card spot, but
he'll be a wild card.
Well, let's not write it in quite yet, but we'll put him on hold and we'll talk about the other front courts.
Yeah, let's put him on hold.
Yeah. I think Jaylen Brown and probably I guess Jaylen Brown, right?
Yeah. You could put Kristaps. Trying to think of the games that I've watched him play this year. They are number 1 in the East, so that matters. They're probably going to get 3 Celtics in there. I would say they're probably going to. Yeah. Not a big fan, but it's going to happen probably. Because I don't think you can put Banchero or Randall or Bridges over him.
That starting 5 has the second highest plus minus in the league, second to the Denver Nuggets, which is kind of surprising though that you only have 1 Nugget. And you still have the highest plus minus in the league.
That's how good Jokic is,
for that
man.
Starting 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20-1 at home, man. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. So then that leaves one more front court and then a wild card. Where I think the discussion, I guess we got Jimmy, Bam, Paolo, and Randall.
No, Randall. Give it to Jimmy.
Man, this one's tough, man. Sam, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say because I kind of have mine locked and loaded, but I kind of want to hear what you have to say, and maybe it'll skew me because it's just, man, what seed are the Heat, man? Where are they at right now?
Heat's 6.
6 seed, man. It's just not good enough. It's just not good enough
Not
to
good
be.
enough.
That's not good enough to be up there. If you're averaging 21 points
He's
per
asking
game,
for a wild card spot.
man, it's not enough. But you're talking about. I think this is what I was gonna say. Actually, no. Go ahead, Sam, and then I'll say what I was gonna say.
I'm just kind of looking real fast.
Randall's out for me. Randall's out for me as
Randall's
well.
out.
Yeah,
Okay.
for me, I hate the way he plays. He gets a lot of calls. Yeah, not a big fan.
Yeah, I like. I don't know. I think it. I think so. The final two spots for me, I think it's Jimmy, and then I'm fighting between Paolo and Randall.
Not Paulo.
So we got Bam in already.
Bam. Bam is in.
Bam's in.
Bam and Jimmy. Wild card spots.
I want Bam and Bancaro. That's what I want.
No.
Because I think on a night to night basis, Bam does a little bit more and he's healthier for more games than Jimmy, so he gets edged out. And then I think Bancaro's done enough for his team, and his team's not as good as the Heat's obviously, or the coaching or the culture or whatever you want to call it. And he's a what is it, a second year guy. So he's kind of on his own. He's got one of the worst backcourts in the NBA in my opinion. I mean, they're fine, but as far as like the player of his caliber, it's one of the worst backcourts. And they've made a huge jump from last season, and they're only 2 seeds behind the East, or behind the Heat.
Backcourt being that bad.
No, I
Right?
don't mean to say they're like bad, but like if you have a front court of Jalen Suggs and Cole Anthony, is your team that good?
No.
Probably not. It's not like you have like look at every other guy. I mean, you look at obviously the Bucks, Damian Lillard. Joel Embiid has Tyrese Maxey. Tatum has Derek White and who plays point for them? Drew Holiday. Jimmy Butler's backcourt was Lowry and played the two. Oh, Tyler Hero.
That's pretty trash.
It's pretty bad, but I think Hero's a lot better than either one of those two guys on the Magic. And he has Bam, and then Kristaps same thing, and then Julius Randle has Jalen Brunson. So out of these guys, he has the worst backcourt, I think, as a whole. Franz is good though.
I mean, you so you both have Bam in there,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm okay with that. But then it comes down to I don't know. Jimmy's just kind of he hasn't played a lot of games for me.
That hurts too. Yeah.
But how do we feel about Jalen Brunson as a wild card?
No.
You don't like Brunson over Randall?
Not yet.
No. He's played well, but it goes back to the same thing where they're a good team. The team around him is good enough, and he hasn't had a huge jump or anything like that. Whereas I feel like, and they're what seed are they? The 5?
They're the 5.
Okay. How many? So they've won 26 games. The Magic have won 20. Magic only 3 games behind them. And they supposedly have 3 All-Stars. I just feel like Banchero is doing so much more heavy lifting here than any of these other guys. And he might get snubbed because he's the youngest guy and people just don't respect him. And
I don't respect him.
I get that.
Yeah, Geigh is that guy.
Yeah.
I'm that guy.
Oh no, and when we talk about votes that matter in this, we talk about obviously he doesn't have the fan vote. He doesn't have the upside of the fan vote. He's not going to have the players' respect yet, and the media probably hasn't hopped on yet. So I'm okay if we rule him out because he's probably not going to make it this year, barely, because the front court is just a little heavy. It's a little heavy. I think if Kristaps wasn't on the Celtics, he might be able to get in. If Jaylen Brown wasn't playing as well as he has, he might have a chance. I'm not saying JB wouldn't get in, but it's just there would be more variance, or more variance. And if Randall wasn't the 5 seed right now, he might make it over Randall, but that's just how it goes. So yeah, if you guys want to, we can pencil in Bam. I'm okay with that. And then if you guys want to pick the other guy, I'm okay with. I mean, Birch is completely out, but if you want to go with Butler as that other guy, wouldn't feel great about it having 2 Heat players. I think if I had to choose between those 2, it'd probably be. It's gonna pay me to say it, but I'd probably choose Randall. Because I feel like the Knicks have to have one All-Star as the 5 seed. It might be a little disrespectful to not give them one.
Yeah, I don't know.
We could always do Porzingis and Derek White. Do that.
Nah, Derek White's out.
Yeah.
He's out. Well,
I mean, why Derek White when we could just put in Drew?
well, we could choose another guard.
But
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
that's
Boston versus the West. Honestly, that would be amazing. Actually, if you coordinate that, you'd pick basically at one time you could have all 5 starters on Boston Celtics against the Western Conference.
That'd be pretty crazy. I don't think that ever happened again, but
And they run a set.
yeah, they actually like running a real game, like real minutes. Get some practice in.
If you guys remember, I think it was the 2018 All-Star game, the year that Derrick Rose had like his comeback season and dropped 50 for the Timberwolves. You know, his All-Star vote, everyone was voting for him, and I think he was almost a starter. And I think that's when they were like, okay, are we giving the fans too much power here?
Yeah.
They almost brought it down to 25% because it's like fan voting can be insane. You know, it's kind of simmered down. I mean, like just looking last year, the guards like Luka and Steph had almost 5.8 million votes, and now they're only at 3. Like voting has gone down a lot, so it's like they don't hold as much weight anymore. Not as many people voting.
I actually think we should go with Brunson over Randall now that I think about it. I think he should be the other wild card because I think he's just a better player.
That's what I was thinking too. And I just don't think Jimmy's played enough games for me, so that's why I was thinking Brunson.
No.
You don't want Brunson over Jimmy?
No. That's a terrible no.
But here's the thing, Gage, is that we can't have 2 Heat players make the All-Star game when they're lower seeds than the Knicks. It's not right, man. That's not right.
It's not right, man.
It's not right, man. It's not right.
So then what about Jimmy and Brunson rather than Bam and Brunson?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, I guess. I still think Bam deserves it more because he's played more games, but if we need to give it to Jimmy because he has the fan vote, that is what it is. I mean, he does have about 800,000 more, so I guess I can understand.
Yeah. So now moving back to the West, we already kind of have Steph penciled in because we were talking about that backcourt.
Yeah.
We could just get that other backcourt reserve out of the way that we know for sure. And I'm looking at Harden, Irving, and Edwards.
And Reeves.
And Harden, Irving, and Edwards. You know, I got to give it to Edwards. You know, he's the only guy on here from the Wolves that's in the fan voting, and they're the number 1 seed in the West right now.
Yeah.
As much as I want to give it to Harden, but you know he didn't play the first 12 games
15,
of the season, 13 or something like that. So I don't want to put him there. And then Kyrie has missed a few games. Dallas isn't having a spectacular year, but you know it's hard to be the 1 seed in your conference and not have at least one guy go to the All-Star game. So I think it's got to be Edwards.
100% agree with you.
I don't know what I think Harden, and I think it's a lot closer than you guys are saying. Like Harden and Edwards. James Harden has to defer the ball a lot more and isn't the focal point of that Clippers offense. The guy has been averaging maybe league leading assists, and you guys are kind of like sleeping on that. He's one of the best assists.
I don't think we're sleeping on it. I think we're just recognizing that the Wolves are the number 1 seed.
Yeah, but the Clippers aren't, they aren't too far behind.
Not too far behind, but do you want me to zoom in on James Harden's games played? I can do that.
But I mean, he started off the season early in the season, sure. But also, like, I feel like Anthony Edwards is still prone to those just dive bomb games where he does absolutely nothing. And I mean James Harden can do that too, but I've seen a lot more Anthony Edwards just throwing the game in comparison to James Harden this year, I feel like. That's just me.
It's kind of hard to throw the game though when you are the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
You're doing enough
Yeah.
where it happens rarely enough that it's not really doesn't matter, honestly. But I think also the Clippers overall have a better team than the Wolves, and debatably better coaching, so there's a little bit more to work with there. Whereas Anthony kind of has to be the offense, like the whole offense. I mean, obviously Cat has its nights. Cat has his nights, but otherwise, like the third offensive guy on that team is Mike Conley. You know, it's definitely not Gobert. It's definitely not Jaden McDaniels. So whereas if Harden doesn't even have to be the second best scorer on the team on any night at all.
But like look at where this Clippers team went when James Harden joined this team. I think the
I
Clippers,
agree.
I mean, they started off terribly and then they ended up breaking off of turning around what was an 8-game losing streak into like a 9-game winning streak.
They have the second most wins since James Harden started playing.
Yeah, the second most wins since James Harden started playing. And
he's impacted the team greatly, but it's not as much of an increase as it was from Edwards and the Wolves has increased from last year to this year.
From 8 seed to 1 seed.
Jumping the whole conference.
Clippers went from 5 to 4.
I mean, and it's not like we have to think that hard about it. Harden can be the next guy.
Yeah, he could be one of those wild card spots.
Yeah.
But I just feel like for sure I want to write in Edwards because, it's hard to write off.
Sure, I can take that. I like Edwards. I'm a big fan of Edwards.
Didn't sound like it.
No,
Yeah,
I am.
it sounds like you're more of a Harden guy.
I'm a big fan. It's just like it's his first year kind of blowing up. And do you normally give starting positions to people who it's their kind of first year? Just
well,
like
it's not a starter. It's a reserve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter at this. I mean, we're picking, I guess, Steph and Anthony Edwards, and then James Harden is a wild card.
Yeah, I like
something
that. Yeah.
Well, it's actually tough. Let's get.
We can keep a hold on the wild cards. So now we'll go to the front court. The obvious ones we can write in. I think Anthony Davis, obviously. Yep. He's healthy enough. So let's just do that.
Yeah.
Anyone else that you guys would like to put in?
Leonard, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And now it gets interesting. There's 3 guys that we can really talk about: Sengun, George, and Wembanyama. And PT, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm kidding. It's Sengun.
This is really weird, but I actually disagree. I think
Don't
this
say Paul
year,
George, because then Geigh is gonna say Victor, bro.
No, I'm not gonna say Victor.
I actually think it's gonna be Chet. I don't think it's gonna be Sengun or Victor. I think when we talk about, let's just talk about Victor and Sengun for a second. And obviously Victor, it's to a little bit more of a tougher stance because 1, he's a rookie, and 2, he's what are they, the 14th seed or the 13th seed? They're one of the worst teams in that conference. 15. So they are the worst.
The worst.
And it's not really particularly close either. So you can pretty much already rule him out. I don't think teams are gonna like that very much at all. And as far as Sengun, I just think that being around that 11 seed, 10 seed, it's gonna hurt a lot. Because I think when you talk about who deserves to make it, I think his numbers and his impact on the team have validity. But ultimately, we're just not winning enough games to make it matter. And like I said before, when we're talking about, choosing on the margins here, we have to choose guys that, 1, their stats are there, and two, their team is winning games. And he's just not there yet, and that's fine. He's got a long career ahead of him. He'll be multiple-time All-Star later. But his team is just not there yet. And I think it's partly due to not really having an I don't want to say an all-star guard next to him, but I mean, Fred's been good, but he's very hot and cold. Obviously, playing with Jalen Green has had its own headaches. Having Tari Eason out kind of hurt our defensive tenacity there. Dylan Brooks is a streaky shooter. There's just a lot of holes on the team, and so I think who knows, man, because the head coaches are going to be the ones voting. And I really do think the coaches like Şengün a lot. I think they remind him of a player that they grew up watching or that they played with when they were playing in the league. And I think that they like him as a person, and I think they understand that he plays the right way. He doesn't foul bait. He plays back to the basket, and I think it reminds them a lot of Pau Gasol. But I think ultimately you can't disrespect the current player base because you like a guy more than the other guy. So I could see it going either way, but I think he's gonna be one of the last guys, or the first guys, I should say, to get snubbed, unfortunately.
So with Sengun, I was just looking at player efficiency ratings, and he is 14th in the NBA. There's going to be how many guys? 24 guys going into this playoff game. And as of right now, out of the 13 guys ahead of him, we already have 11 of those guys slated in as all-stars. So it's hard for me to kind of like leave out when, especially he's averaging a fairly good stat line, 22,
Great, man.
9, and 5.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Why isn't Sabonis in?
Why isn't Sabonis in?
Why aren't we? Why is Sabonis not in voting? Why isn't Sabonis playing? Why doesn't
no,
I don't think people the fans just don't. I don't feel like the fans just don't like him. I mean, here's the thing: De'Aaron Fox also isn't either, but I think he's missed some games.
I don't think coaches and players really respect Sabonis either. If I'm being honest with you, that's just my personal hunch. But I think if they're choosing between guys, I mean, I think they would choose Sabonis over Şengün if it came down to it right now. But I think that's kind of the aura around him a little bit. I mean, he's a great player, but yeah, I don't know. But I guess you could say the same thing about Chet this year because he's technically a rookie, but it's his first year, and so like same thing with Victor and Alperen. Like, I think coaches may be like these older guys, they're kind of not fading out, but they're on the backside of their career. Maybe not Sabonis as much, but like Paul George, Kawhi, guys like that, or even like I don't know, Harden, Kyrie maybe. They deserve the recognition because they've been there, they've done that. And these young kids, man, they'll have so much years and time to do all that it's not their turn yet. So maybe they'll go that route. It's hard to know what head coaches are thinking, Like
Yeah.
just in general.
Okay, so we know who I would put in for that final front court spot. We know Payton's going with Chet. Who did you go with, Geigh? Do you agree with one of us?
No, I don't know. I'm trying to think of how the coaches would. Okay, so you don't need Sengun. You just don't.
Yeah.
You probably pick Paul George just because, like, I think coaches are going to be like, well, I already have Jokic and I have Anthony Davis, so why would I need any other centers?
Well, I don't think they're looking at it in the lens of they need to win the game. I think.
I know, but like,
who's deserving?
Deserving, but like, I feel like there is a little bit like. It is a little bit of a clunky fit to like have another center who, I mean,
it's not about fit though. I don't think they care about fit. And even if it was, it's not like they're going to be on the court at the same time anyways. Like he's going to be in Jokic's backup, which would be kind of poetic actually, but so it's kind of beside the point about fit.
I think
honestly.
It's PG. I just think it's PG.
Yeah, I can go with that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like PG as that final front court spot. And then that just leaves our two wild cards. Which I think we can all give the nod to Harden. Maybe.
Yeah, Harden's one of them.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then that final wild card spot, I Chet or Sengun. I mean, Payton, you did kind of convince me. It kind of sucks that you're not going with your boy.
I'm going
But
Kyrie.
I know. I
Kyrie.
want him to make it so badly. I just don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, because of that 11 seed. I think if we were the 8 seed, it would be enough to edge out Chet. But I don't think it's going to be enough. And I don't know when the reserve voting gets done. Like if it gets done like tomorrow or Thursday, then it's cooked. But if it gets done in like a week, and we can have a nice little stretch where we get back in like the 9 seed, maybe, but it's just kind of a reach at that point. I don't feel comfortable basing my opinion on something that could or couldn't happen.
Yeah, I'm just checking the release date. So the reserves are going to be next Thursday, so the 1st. So
It's probably just a safe answer to go with Sabonis, honestly. We could technically pick another guard if we wanted. We could.
I mean, Geigh said Kyrie.
So you guys think that coaches put no thought into van voting? So it doesn't matter that Şengün has almost double the votes as Kyrie. They're gonna go with the guy they want to go with.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: we might even see something like Jalen Brunson starting. I guarantee it. We might see something.
Well, that can't.
Coaches don't care about starters.
They might. Yeah, but no, but
they,
the
they
coaches
can't.
might.
They can't decide anything.
We might see Jalen Brunson just go all the way close to the top instead of no Trae Young, no Damian Lillard.
You mean as like a 6-man?
Yeah, they might just shoot Trae Young. Not Trae Young. Jalen Brunson might skyrocket. I noticed coaches like Jalen Brunson. They really do.
You're all right about that.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't be surprised, actually.
Yeah. So
I think when we did the teams, we should have had a conscious thought of like the reserves, at least, of like who do the coaches really like, and who do you think they appreciate? Because that's what it's really gonna matter. Like it doesn't matter who we think deserves to make it. We think who the coaches are gonna think deserve to make it. And yeah, you're right. I mean, like coaches, they love Jimmy Butler. I think.
Yeah,
I don't know for sure.
They do.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know if coaches like Kyrie Irving. I don't know if they like him all that much. I'm just saying. I'm not sure they're a fan of him. I'm sure they think he's super talented, but I don't think they really like his attitude sometimes. And that stuff that happened off and on a couple years ago, I don't really think they like that. So but that's valid though, because there might be some personal bias that matters. It's case by case, but like coaches like Anthony Edwards. I think it's crazy. It looks like Devin Booker's gonna get snubbed, but just team didn't have a good enough start to the season. And like I think coaches really like Şengün too. So maybe he does make it. I don't know. He's a really tough read right now. Because I think they have to have some kind of balance between I like this guy a lot, but I also understand he's really young right now, and he doesn't need to make it this year. If he doesn't make it this year, it's not going to hurt his resume that much. Like, look at Jokic. He didn't make it his 3rd year either. I'm sure Sabonis didn't make it his 3rd year either. There's lots of guys that didn't make it. Harden didn't make it his 3rd year, I don't think. De'Aaron Fox might have not made it his 3rd year.
LeBron didn't. Oh, wait. No, he did.
I think Anthony Davis did, but anyways, yeah, so it's okay if he doesn't make it, and I think they understand that. But yeah, my vote for the final wild card would probably be it's Sabonis. I think it's Sabonis.
I'm stuck. I mean, like Kyrie's a good one too, like you said, Gage. But yeah, I think Sabonis. But I don't know. It's tough. But if the coaches are picking this, then yeah, I say probably Sabonis as well.
Then, yeah, I want Kyrie to play, but yeah, they don't like Kyrie.
Coaches really don't like Kyrie. I
They don't
don't
like
think.
that, man.
But see,
Most
here's the
players
thing.
don't, or
This is where
coaches.
it gets really interesting with if Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant are all on the West All-Star team.
Yeah,
Looks a
they won't let
little,
that happen.
yeah, they're not gonna
It
let
looks
that
a little
happen.
weird.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we still got beef. It's like, no.
Just give it to De'Aaron Fox.
And then,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
I
what's
think
gonna happen in the meeting. Do we really want that?
You
Just give it
guys,
to De'Aaron
you
Fox.
guys have to admit though, man, if Şengün was Jokic's backup, that would be like a chef's kiss narrative. 'Cause, like that's what he is a young up and coming mini Jokic, and for him to
Yeah.
be his backup a year earlier than Jokic made it would be a pretty cool narrative and storyline. But I'm biased, I understand that, but I
No,
think it'd
you'd
be
have
pretty
them
cool.
talking about it for a good 2 minutes casually. Be like,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'd be chomping it up during All-Star Weekend too.
Yeah.
They'd be talking.
Yeah.
And then Şengün can soak up all that knowledge in 3 days,
Mm.
there you go.
whatever he gets.
So for the Western Conference, our starters are Luka, Shai, LeBron, Jokic, and KD, with the reserves being Steph, Anthony Edwards, James Harden, Sabonis, AD, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard. And then for the Eastern Conference, the starters are Tyrese Halliburton, Dame, Giannis, Embiid, Tatum, and the reserves are Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey, Jalen Brunson, Jalen Brown, Tingus Pingus, and Jimmy Butler.
I really think that Donovan's going to end up starting. That's just me. I think the coaches are going to put Donovan next to Halliburton. It's just I think coaches are going to do that. We'll find out.
You mean
So here's the thing,
48
Gage.
hours.
Here's the thing, Gage. Coaches don't get a vote.
I have a feeling coaches someone's going to
care.
Donovan is going to be in that starting lineup. That's just all I'm saying.
But how can the coaches put him in when they have no say in starters?
Okay, what I think Donovan's going to be in the starting lineup.
so basically what you think is you think the players are gonna vote Donovan over the other
Players
players?
and
think so.
media.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, media, no chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, media, no chance.
It'd be the players.
We'll see.
So
It'd
so,
be the
so
players.
We'll see.
So you're banking on that 25% of player base.
Yes, I think Donovan's going to get in starters.
It's a very hot take. We'll see if it pays off.
yeah, he's gonna need some help. Yeah, he's fourth.
We'll see.
That's tough ask.
We'll see. It's just the Paul qual.
Oh my god.
He just.
I got a question for you guys also. So obviously the Celtics have 3 All-Stars, deservedly so. Do you think that the coaches are gonna think in the back of their head they're like, Harden made it on the bench, Kawhi made it on the bench. Do we really need another Clipper on the bench? Because obviously they can't vote for their own team, so it can't be Ty Lue. Do you think coaches are gonna think like that? Because I feel like they might.
Voter fatigue.
Yeah. Sort of.
I mean,
they're like too many Clippers.
Too many Clippers for a 4
yeah,
seed.
but here's the thing: the one guy that's would get snubbed off of that, what I say was Paul George. I feel like Kawhi's deserving.
I agree.
James Harden is deserving, even though James has played the least amount of games between the three.
I mean, Paul George was kind of that guy who started the lawnmower. I remember the first beginning stretch of them winning games. Paul George was going nuts and carrying this team, and then finally Kawhi and Kawhi and James Harden kind of figured it out after Game 6, and then PG could kind of step back and just now you never really know which of the 3 are going to take over.
But yeah, I don't think any of us necessarily disagree that he deserves it on a talent level. I just think that coaches might want to give some other guys on different teams a chance. But otherwise, we still have our teams. I just kind of wanted to know what you guys thought about that.
Yeah, And there's going to be, I mean, like if I look at last year, how many guys were replacements? There's 1, 2. Let's see, there was 3 replacements last year for the West, and 1 replacement last year for the East. So there's some guys that might be playing in, whether players opt out or are injured.
So on
I feel-
average, about 2 players a conference.
Yeah,
Could say that.
yeah.
So by that standard, Şengün could have a good chance to get
and
in.
the coaches pick who those replacements are.
Yeah.
So
Anthony Davis. No, I'm just kidding.
Kevin Durant. Bron. Just like the whole front court is just gone.
Yeah, exactly.
He just climbs the ladder, and then we get who would be a totally random. It's not even trying to think of someone random, and like Rudy Gobert gets back. Cat.
Right. We didn't even talk about those guys who are number 1 in the West, but I don't think coaches would vote for Gobert. I think Cat would be the guy that they would vote for if anybody, but
that 60-point game or 62 or whatever it was could help his case if the voting doesn't end until like next Sunday or something. So
right. I feel like they should make coaches choose from these pools. I'd like that a lot better.
Yeah, the fan vote shrinks it down, so like you can pick like the remaining out of the remaining 25 top 25 guys that you get to pick from those guys.
Yeah,
it makes it easier because then I'm looking. So I have the All-Star voting. So give me a front court, back court, Eastern or Western from last year.
What do you mean? Just players?
Yeah, from last year. Yeah. Or no, just give me a front court or back court, East or West from last year.
Luka and Curry.
Okay, so back court West. Okay. So I go all the way down. So someone who got I'm looking at the lowest. Okay, here's the name. Garrett Temple. Does someone want to tell me what team Garrett Temple played for last year?
Wait, the Wizards?
Was it the Wizards? I don't even know.
Might be the Blazers.
Last year, you're both wrong. It was New Orleans.
Gotcha.
He got a player vote.
When did he play for the Wizards? I could have sworn he played for
he got a player vote. That must have been like his cousin or something.
Wait, when was he played for the Wizards?
Did he ever?
Geigh, 2016 was the last year that he played for the Wizards.
What about the Blazers?
Blazers, you're thinking of a different guy.
Okay.
He plays for Toronto right now, or played for Toronto.
I might have been thinking of Gary Trent Jr.
Yeah, and then let's see the lowest rated media guy. Okay, media's not too crazy. Like Dante DiVincenzo last year got 7 player votes.
Whoa.
Okay, so the media keeps it real, keeps it 100 real. Last year in the backcourt, they voted. There was 98 votes for Luka, 53 for Steph, 35 for Ja, and 12 for Shai. Nobody else. Dame 0, De'Aaron Fox 0, Booker 0, Edwards.
Yeah, they don't like these
0.
guys. I'm telling you, one person that's going to shoot up is going to be Sabonis, and it's going to be Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson.
Likes Sabonis.
He got 46 last year, which was the third highest in the front court.
Really?
They like Sabonis.
I guess they do like Sabonis. I guess.
They like them some Sabonis.
Yeah, some triple-double Sabonis.
Yeah. But, all right. Well, is there anything else that you guys need to add?
Nah, I think I'm going to save that question I had for you guys at a later time. I don't want to get into it.
Who won the trade?
Who won the trade?
Pacers.
The Pacers?
We'll talk about that on another episode.
Yeah, we'll talk that. We'll talk about that at a different time. But once again, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Momentum MVP. Follow our Facebook page at MVP Momentum Podcast, and check us out on YouTube at MVP Momentum Podcast. I've been Sam Holcroft.
Gage Zollicoffer.
I have Payton Thompson.
Thanks for listening.